A lot of people actually ask me to review their resume. They want to make sure that they are not missing any possible thing that can lead to their resume getting rejected. And interestingly, with a lot of AI tools, I believe getting a resume reviewed with these AI tools like Claude or ChatGPT, it has become even more easier. And I thought, why not? I will get my resume reviewed using Claude. Yes, so in this particular video, I will be submitting my resume to Claude and I will ask it to analyze it as if it was getting reviewed by an engineering manager and a senior HR for different kind of roles. And I will try to get reviews and feedbacks from Claude, and we will see what are some of the important pointers that Claude actually gives us. I will also show you the starting point, that is the base resume that I will be submitting, and we will be discussing all the feedbacks together. I thought this is going to be a good exercise, and it will also help you guys to actually understand how you can get your resume reviewed with Claude. So without any further ado, let's just start. And before starting the video, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing because we are going to put some really awesome content coming up ahead. So let's just start. Now let's get started. So in front of you, you can see this is one of my resumes that I'm going to actually upload to Claude, right? You can see I've just redacted all the information about, let's say, the phone number and email address, etc. Rest everything I have kept as it is, right? There can be a couple of mistakes because this is kind of like an old resume, but I used to use this exact resume a lot of times for applying, right? So I want a genuine feedback from Claude that what it feels about my particular resume. You can see I have listed down all the major work experience. Interestingly, I have trimmed down the LinkedIn part from this because, as I said, this is an old resume. I still have to restructure it altogether. But overall, to get an idea about what Claude is able to catch, what it is not able to catch, it would be a decent stuff because technically, if you see, I have not added my education years and all, right? A couple of things here and there are missing. I also know what are some of the, I would say, downsides of this particular resume, but I want an honest opinion from Claude. Now coming back to Claude, you can see here I have already uploaded that same resume, and this is a dedicated prompt that I'm going to actually give. In this particular prompt, I'm actually asking Claude to review my resume in 3 different directions. First, as an HR recruiter / talent acquisition specialist, right? As a senior engineering manager, and then as an ATS scanner, right? So that I can get overall idea because these are different levels through which your resume might be screened, right? So you can see ATS technical audit, ATS parsing score, right? Keyword and skill extraction, ATS action items, and so on. For HR perspective, first impression, clarity and career story, any red flags, action items. In engineering manager perspective, it will ask specifically for technical rigor and impact, metrics and business context, ownership and leadership, EM action items, summary, and top 5 priority for revisions. And this dedicated prompt, I actually used Gemini to create. I actually feeded Gemini what kind of like a prompt I need, and then I got this prompt created. At the end of this particular prompt, you can see there is a target role mentioned. For now, I have mentioned it as software engineer, backend engineer, right? Or I would say backend leaning. Let's call it as backend leaning. That's the term nowadays a lot of people use. And I've also mentioned I have attached my resume as a PDF. So you can see there is a very detailed set of instructions I'm actually feeding to Claude. The model I'm using is Opus 5. We can also use Fable, but I believe Opus 5 should be okay. And we already know the feedback that nowadays Opus is already very verbose. So I'm assuming that there will be a lot of text in this review that will be given to us by Opus. So let's start getting this reviewed all together. So I'll feed this and let's wait for Claude to give us the feedback. And then we'll go through the feedback together and I'll try to point out what things I believe are definitely correct and what are some of the things that should be a takeaway for even you guys if you are preparing your resume for applying, and how you can also improve your resume based on the feedback I have here. Because a lot of times people actually ask me for my resume and sometimes actually keep it as a reference. So before moving forward in the video, if you are somebody who wants to learn the concept of AI engineering and actually make a career in the same field, then you are actually at the right place. Algocamp has launched its first AI engineering cohort in which you will be able to learn state-of-the-art patterns on how to make these real-world production-grade ready AI applications. You will learn all the concepts from beginner to advanced, starting from basics of LLMs, understanding GPT's API or let's say Claude's API, how you can actually set up RAGs in production, how you can make your own AI agents with a lot of interesting projects as well. You will be making projects including making your own code reviewing agent, making your own RAG pipeline, which will be able to handle long running tasks as well, and whatnot. I list all of the projects here, and you can pause the video and check out all of them. This particular cohort will also help you understand behind the scenes of an LLM so that you can understand how the LLM actually works, the neural network architecture, the transformers architecture, what was actually running before LLMs like RNNs and LSTMs. All of these concepts of deep learning also we will be actually covering. This particular cohort has been actually made sure that if you're somebody who knows nothing about AI engineering and wants to start your career in AI engineering, you will be able to actually do that. We will provide all of the required fundamentals, including Python, basics of Python, fast API, Docker, Git, GitHub, and everything which will help you to start your learning as fast as possible. If you are somebody who is actually looking for a more structured way to learn AI engineering with people who are actually building these products in production, do check out the link in the description section below, and don't forget to use this particular coupon code to get massive discount on the price. So let's get back to the video. Friends, right? So what are the shortcomings of my resume? We'll just know in a few minutes. And the review is ready. Let's go through it together, right? I'll also read it for the very first time just in front of you. So you can see it says, here's the panel review. And it says, I'll flag upfront the single biggest issue is one that all three reviewers land on independently. Your skill section doesn't contain the technologies you actually used, right? So what it is referring is that in this particular skill section, you can see I generally tend to write very less number of skills in my resume, right? And of course, when you're working in a full-time situation, there are a lot of different technologies that you actually explore. So what Claude's review is that there are a lot of skills that you have mentioned in your work experience, but they are not mentioned in your skills section. I have an opinion around it, but let's see later that what Claude actually says. So ATS score, it is saying that the parsing score is 62. I would keep it as, let's say, above average. The content is strong, the container is leaking, breaking down the deduction. So you can see two column slash sidebar layout, right? Icon glimpse parsing as this. So you can see a couple of icons here and there, or these special characters might be causing the issue. Skill section omits 80% of the demonstrated stack. So again, it is pointing that out. No graduation year on education. So it is able to technically catch that. LinkedIn slash GitHub as bare username, no URLs, right? So I believe it is having URL embedded, right? For example, if I click on this one, you can see this is having a URL embedded, but I believe Claude is not able to parse that particular PDF part properly. So we can actually ignore this particular front, right? So the linearized text extraction, which is what an ATS sees, pulls your entire sidebar, achievement, GSOC, conference talk, student projects before it reaches the software engineer 2 part. A recruiter running keyword proximity ranking sees these parts in the first half of your document, and BTech candidate profile emerges before meta does. So it says that because you have a 2-column resume, this part of the resume will be probably scanned or parsed first. This part will be scanned later. So maybe some restructuring we can do here. Fair point. These are the keywords it was able to extract. Missing, and this is the problem, everything below appears nowhere in your skills. For example, all of these things that is something that I regularly worked with. These are not present in my skill section. Now, this is the point where I would like to differ from Claude, because I am of that opinion that you should write only those skills in your skill section in which you are able to answer 7 out of 10 questions. But it can be opinionated. Claude is saying that mention everything. I generally do not do that because I do not want anybody to just start asking me questions on a tech stack, which, let's say, I just worked for, let's say, 6 to 8 months, and I'm not able to answer like most of the in-depth questions, right? So that's my opinion, but let's see the remaining review. Formatting flags. So you can see a couple of formatting flags like multi-column layout. It is technically flagging, which again, I believe is good because I have a lot of content to actually put. But according to Claude, this might be maybe, let's say, improved. Font icon in contact bar. So you can see it says that these font icons that I have actually used might not be the best thing to go for. Okay. No location or target in the header. So I have not added my location. This is also something that I generally try to avoid manually, because I believe anybody who's looking at my professional experience can see what all locations I have actually worked with. And to be very honest, I want to give an idea that I'm open to location, like wherever the company wants me to work, I can work. So this is something that we can take as a 50-50. No professional summary, nothing tells the parser what you are in one line. This is a good point. A lot of people do recommend having a professional summary. The problem is I want to keep it as a single page resume, so I don't have much space. And I assume that if somebody is manually reading, they will get the idea of what I'm doing. But definitely a couple of lines of a professional summary can give good details to the ATS parser that what I'm probably targeting, right? Blog as a bare word with no URL is a dead weight. I believe somewhere in this particular project section or somewhere, I believe there might be a word blog. Yeah. So you can see it is actually having a link attached, but again, it is not able to parse the link. So that's why it's saying that blog is a bare minimum just word, but actually there is a link attached. So again, this is also cancelled out. Okay, so these are the action items on the ATS front. I believe these are some good points. I should definitely keep those in mind. A lot of these points are opinionated. Like I try to keep this resume in a specific way, which maybe let's say a couple of ATS don't like, but overall it has not bothered me whenever I'm applying, and most of the time the resume shortlisting does work. But yeah, definitely some good pointers to keep in mind. Now, these are some things that I'm really excited for. That is the HR perspective. So first impression, the brand names land hard, right? So you can see the brand names land hard: Meta, Microsoft, Google plus GSOC, and 5 international conference talks. These are top tier, let's say pedigree, and it earns you a lot of respect, etc. XYZ. But in those 6 seconds, I'll also register things that can create hesitation. The layout puts a Twitch clone before Meta. So again, it's talking about the fact that when reading the layout, this right hand part will be read first according to Claude. I might have to do some research that whether it is correct or not, and then the left part will be read. So it's saying that these projects and these part will be highlighted first rather than my full-time experience, which is technically the more meaty part. 2 moves in 18 months. So you can see from Google December 2023 to Microsoft Jan 2024, 15 months, and then to Meta. So you can see these, this is most like a relocation front, but it says that some HR might actually call it out that why there were a couple of switches. Flat titles: software engineer 2 at Microsoft, software engineer 2 at Meta, 5 years, no visible progression. So you can see it is actually considering the fact that from software engineer 2 role, I landed up in a different software engineer 2 role, and this is a flat hierarchy. Like there was no progression, there was no kind of like promo when I took a switch. So that's also something that can actually get maybe called out by HR, and that's technically a fair point, right? Clarity and career story: the narrative is coherent but not stated, right? The actual arc, mobile slash full stack at Google, data pipelines at Microsoft, revenue system architecture at Meta, is a legible progression towards backend and financial system ownership, right? So some red flags. So you can see there are some terms like DST, DBRR, RMS, XFN, seller effects. These are very company specific terms, right? And this is a feedback that I have got a couple of times earlier as well, that in the resume, I have used a lot of company specific terms that might not be common knowledge. So when somebody is reading, they don't know what is DBRR, what is seller effects, etc. So I should try to put it in a way that is more understandable. For example, led the engineering design of revamping the RMS architecture to support the end-to-end journal posting, right? So you can see this extracts zero information. So this is this particular point. So there is no information extracted, like in this particular point, what I did, what was the earlier situation, what I improved, and so on. The $120 million to $540 million range reads as inflated. A 4.5x spread signals a financial model you didn't own or attaching. So this is more like these numbers are technically correct, but what Claude feels that these numbers might be a bit more exaggerated. The thing is, this particular team is like very small part of the complete revenue system. So it's not like just one feature is leading to all of this. But again, when somebody manually will read it, they will definitely get the context. So this point can also be cancelled out. So education has no graduation here. That's a red flag, of course, right? Missing UK work authorization, your leave to remain, etc. So these are also something that I definitely should add. So these are the action items you can see from the HR front. So you can see it is actually reading everything and giving its opinion. So when reading the review from these AI tools, we should keep in mind that what we have written, what is the context of that, and based on that, we should take the feedback. For example, these pointers are definitely correct. This pointer is definitely correct. I should not write a lot of DST, DBRR, RMS, all of these terms, which might not be very understandable for anybody else. Now, third part, the engineering manager perspective. Right, technical rigor impact, mixed, and the gap is diagnostic. You describe what you delivered, but rarely how you decided. So this is an interesting fact that is missing, that a lot of pointers, they are mentioned that what I did, but how I decided what to do or what particular approach to take, that's technically missing. The strongest bullet on a page is your Microsoft active work, automating pipeline load distribution based on severity across clusters. That's a real distribution system decision, but that's in one sentence with no failover semantics, consistency model, scale, no outcome metric. So definitely it has called out that this particular pointer has not been attached with any outcome metric, any numbers, any modeling architecture, and so on. The weakest are the meta leadership bullets, which are pure org speak, right? It's saying that meta points are very org specific. Let the E2E engineering design tells me you were in the room. It doesn't tell what exactly design. So I need to write more about what exactly I did, like, or try to portray in a way that, okay, this particular front is something that I led and delivered end to end. What's absent in the that a backend interviewer will look at is throughput, QPS like figures, data volume and latency numbers, database and schema decisions, caching strategies, queuing and idempotency, and so on. So these are a lot of things that it say that are probably missing. This is mostly because of the nature of the work that I've been doing, right? If there are no numbers, for example, if let's say I have not worked in terms of improving the caching strategy and improving the overall latency using that caching strategy, so I cannot fake it. I have not done that in the resume, so that is called out as a missing part. But I believe that whatever you have worked, based on that, I could have added more numbers. That's definitely a must have that I can add. So you can see meta is metric heavy, but almost entirely a lot of financial numbers. These are like the impact that I created rather than from engineering perspective, what exactly I changed and designed. Google genuinely good, right? 8% to 5.9% decline, 30 million transaction, 40,000 QR, casual and engineering owned. Microsoft, no metrics, all three bullet points. So you can see it is telling me where to add some more numbers, where to not do any number addition, and wherever the numbers are, what improvements can be done on those numbers, right? So, and you can see EM action items. Let's read the EM action item before and after. Uh, Microsoft metric front is definitely something that can be concerning, right? In the meta part, a lot of org specific stuff is there that can be definitely improved, right? Your buried AI bullet. So there is a AI project that I actually did, but it's just a single bullet and it is asking me to revamp it and restructure maybe something like this. But these are pretty big bullets, and I believe the amount of space that I have is pretty less. So maybe I can think about how I can restructure these full-time experience pointers so that I can feed in more details about what I have actually done, right? Your strongest architecture bullet currently undersold. So you can see it is saying that a couple of things in this particular front is kind of like undersold, and I should add more details to it. Okay. So top 5 priority revisions according to Claude: rebuild the skill section, convert to a single column layout, decode every internal acronym, add engineering metrics to the Microsoft front, promote and expand the AI assistant work. So you can see a couple of pointers are definitely good that maybe I can try to experiment with a single column layout. This is definitely something that I have to improve, that I should not write internal acronyms, right? Numbers wherever are missing, which I missed, I should technically add those if I have. And then I should also try to expand more on the AI assistant work or whatever work I am doing in the AI front. There are a couple of reasons because of which I have not added too much information about it. But yeah, so these are the major set of feedbacks that Claude has given. And you can see this whole feedback is pretty exhaustive. Lot of interesting and important points that anybody could have missed. Like, for example, I always miss the fact that I have not added enough numbers and enough impact situations in Microsoft, of course, because a lot of things were infra driven, right? But the numbers are really good in, let's say, the Google work or let's say the Meta work, and that's what it is actually notifying as well. So that was the overall resume feedback. I believe Claude has just thrashed it on a good front. Although the resume works well for me, but there are definitely scope of improvement that I should maybe try to add and see how the experiment actually goes. So I believe the activity and the effort that we try to do in this particular video makes sense to you, that you can actually use these tools to get the sense of what somebody as a senior engineering manager, as a senior HR, what kind of a feeling they are going to get from your resume, what ATS is going to see in your resume, how exactly your resume can be built and improved. That was the agenda of the whole activity. So I hope the overall, I would say, discussion is making sense to everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to drop that in the comment section below. I'll also try to drop this particular complete prompt that I have given in the comment section so that you can actually use it with Claude, ChatGPT, or whatever you want. That being said, let's wrap this particular video here. We're going to meet soon in the next set of videos. Till then, take care. Bye bye. I'm Sanket Singh, signing off.